My brother was the first one to actually put a real golf club in my hands. Until then, I was probably 8. My only exposure to the game was going out to miniature golf courses. This is the way we grow the game. We share our passion. In the end, it's golfers who bring new players into golf. It's golfers who get them hooked. I think the game is truly one of a kind when it comes to getting people interested and intrigued in playing golf. You can ask any golfer around the world and they'll easily remember the first time they set foot on a golf course. That very first impression of the open space, the first hole, the hazards, the nerves. Eventually, all of that gets tamed through practice, learning, and of course, figuring out new ways to beat the course and to come back time after time to try and do better. I think if we were to ever define the role of the golf course architect in just a few clear words, it would be that simple thought to get players to come back time after time. I began drawing golf holes, and that eventually led to drawing plans for make-believe courses. And then, thanks to my parents, I created a short pitch and putt course in my backyard. And I hear similar stories from golf course architects all the time. It's a lot of times how we became inspired at an early age. My parents encouraged my interest in golf, which was fortunate because neither one was exposed to the game. My mother was an educator with a PhD. My father was an inventor. Back in 1952, my father invented 3D film technology. I think whatever creative drive and ambition I have, I'm pretty sure it comes from their backgrounds and values. For most of us, our careers started by focusing on the golf course itself. I mean, after all, we're called golf course architects, so naturally creating golf courses is what we set out to do day in and day out. But when I think about what we do, I believe it's important that we also consider the game itself. The game is what holds everything in place. Golf has so many dimensions, it's a wonderful blend, but when we boil it all down, when we think about the game, it can open our eyes to all sorts of possibilities. It's our work that creates the puzzle. The player confronts it, and then each time they complete one puzzle, we give them another and then another, and finally they have an entire golf course. The work of the golf course architect is truly unique. The dimensions of golf run far and wide. Of course, there's this strong connection to nature and the environment. There are the physical demands and coordination, mental exercise, and then you add in this very meaningful dimension, which is the social connection. In golf, we bring people together on golf courses, friendships are created, and all this happens on the playing board that the golf course architects bring to life. The art of the golf course takes people all over the world to discover one-of-a-kind places and landscapes. Our game has its own lifestyles, fashions, and professional platforms. I think as golf course architects, we need to keep in mind that we share the game with an entire economy of people: manufacturers, retailers, maintenance, construction, the superintendents, professionals, operators. And in today's world, we can add technology to the list. I'm a firm believer that technology innovation has a profound effect, and it will continue to touch every part of the game in our courses as we move forward into the future. We have given people a place to have fun, to enjoy the outdoors. And in the process, we've established open spaces that are sustainable. Our designs have increased land values, and we've had a hand in building this huge $90 billion golf economy. The golf course architects have also done our part to treat the land with respect. A few years ago, we added up all of the wetlands, the forest, the other naturalized areas of America's golf courses, and the total came out to an area that was larger than Yosemite National Park. Now that's 750,000 acres of habitat, basically, that's the result of the good work and plans of golf course architects and our clients. Everyone in golf should take pride in the fact that the open spaces of golf courses literally serve as the lungs of society. My first awareness of ASGCA came about when I wrote off to the Society for Information. I think I was 12 years old. This very nice letter came back, and included with it was a membership application and a map of where all the ASGCA members across the U.S., Canada, and Mexico were located. Now, one of these members happened to be right in my same zip code. That was Arthur Jack Snyder. Never did I dream back then that my friendship and eventual work with Jack would lead to becoming a member, let alone being part of the organization and helping to guide it forward. I consider it an honor to be a part of ASGCA. My mentor, Jack Snyder, came from a superintendent background, including time at Oakmont, where he was head groundskeeper. Jack became a member way back in 1962, and he eventually became president and was honored as a fellow in 1987.
I talk too much, and I just feel very, very much about this society, and very pleased and happy and honored to be a part of it in my year as president, and thank God I lived long enough to get to be a fellow. Thank you.
How I'm sitting before the fire, the empty room, the forest quiet, the flames that couldn't get any higher, they're withered now, they're gone.
I once asked a designer whether he'd ever thought about becoming a member, and he asked me back what I thought he might get out of becoming involved. My answer didn't take long. I pointed to the great times that I had shared with golf course architects. These are, people working all around the world, discussing details, design concepts, really topics that only a golf course architect could appreciate. And then there's the observing, the listening, the absorbing, and especially debating anything and everything golf course design. In my case, I have received so much more than I could possibly contribute. That's the simple answer. I've met incredibly smart people. I've been exposed to new ideas. I've had the opportunity to hear from those responsible for creating some of the greatest work of our generation. And I've made friends that will last a lifetime. Being part of your profession requires learning all that you can and surrounding yourself with different voices, different perspectives. And there's also the history. Some of my fondest memories have been spending time with our senior ASGCA members, people who've actually had the fortune to know such legends as Donald Ross, Stanley Thompson, Perry Maxwell, Billy Bell, A.W. Tillinghast. Looking forward, I sense three important directions that will help keep golf course architects ahead of the game. First, we need to keep looking at new formats for courses. We've had this great run at all sorts of wonderful ideas: compact courses, reversible routings, courses with any number of holes, flexible designs, courses that truly break the mold. Golf is no longer just about 18 holes, par 72, 7,000 yards. But our creativity needs to ramp up as we look to define just what a golf course is, and frankly, what it can be. There's exciting stuff happening all across the world, and I think we need to keep going, because I'm certain that not everything has been done, not everything's been considered when it comes to figuring out just how we design golf holes and come up with what these new courses are going to look like. Second, now more than ever, I think we need to continue to recognize that playing the game does not need to rely on hundreds of acres. This was golf, and even though that model will live on, the future is telling us to think outside this box, to plan smaller footprints, perhaps in some cases to not even leave a footprint at all, to rethink the water, the materials, the labor, the resources that we use to build and maintain golf courses. When we embrace this concept, we will also be giving back the greatest commodity of all, and that's time. Today, people feel they don't have enough time. The work of the golf course architect defines how long it takes to play the game. So it becomes our responsibility then to tackle this part of golf. We need more flexible courses that can be played in different ways with fewer or shorter holes. These are the ideas we need to have on our drawing boards. This same creativity holds true for practice. We're now seeing practice come inside, learning, fitting. It's being transformed in many places, and the element of fun is coming with it. Whether indoors or out, fun is now a part of the program. We're bringing people into golf facilities that aren't even golfers, and that's great for the game. Third, as golf course architects, I feel our job is not just to create golf courses. Sure, I mean, this is our art, the creativity, our experiences, that's what sets the stage. But when you're designing a golf course, I think you're really designing the game. There may be no better group than the world's few hundred golf course architects to dig deep into the game itself. We're the part of golf that has the creative DNA to design and invent. It's time to harness that creativity to think of new ways we can play and enjoy the game, to dream up what's next. We need to remember that the game of 400 years ago was nothing at all like it is today. In some instances, there weren't even any holes in the ground. I mean, there were posts or other kinds of targets. The word golf course meant nothing at all until the game had been played for several hundred years. Players long ago decided where to aim next on the spur of the moment and without any formula at all in terms of yardage. There was no par. Targets could be right over the hill or even a half a mile away. There would be change by day, by group, by nature. Does golf only happen when we have clubs and balls? Should courses only be made up of what we have come to label as golf holes? And are those golf holes restricted to the typical series of tees, fairways, and greens? Have we devised all the hazards to put before a golfer? We have become so accustomed to standards, norms, policies, and rules that our golf courses have unfortunately taken on some of these very same characteristics. Let's start asking whether there are new ways to play the game, and not just ways, but the wheres, the whens, and the whos. Who are we getting out to play the game? The game has a place both indoors and out, maybe in the summer, in the dead of winter, on turf, or maybe something we haven't thought of yet. The game itself is where I think we can make a difference, and creativity is where we will help mold the game to fit an entirely new generation that's yet to come to golf. Golf courses of the future should be different, and they will be different. We have the opportunity to make sure that that difference is more fun, more enjoyable, more diverse, and more inviting. There's no doubt at all that we will continue to draw from the greatest examples of the past. But just as the game has changed up till now, I know it's going to change moving forward. My message gets back to this passion for bringing new people in to enjoy the game of golf on whatever playing board it is we come up with. As golf course architects, there may not be a greater or more important challenge. Being even more creative is something we should all be willing and ready to answer. Together, these are the directions that I believe will make golf stronger, will take us all farther, and down the road, I really believe it will get us ahead of the game.